All right. G'day, everybody. Um, just going to check that my voice is coming through. Looks okay. Sorry, on the laptop today. Um, so I won't have chat handy either, just so you know. Um, but I'll do a quick check of everything anyway. Um, we're definitely showing topping signs at the moment. Uh, whether it has another little pullback and another pump, I think it possibly will, but how long that pullback will last, not 100% sure. We're already $1,000 below the top, just in less than an hour. As I said the other day, these moves are going to be pretty quick up the top here. There's going to be lots of volume going in both directions. Interestingly, we haven't really hit massive volume compared to the breakout volumes. Um, but not not a bad sight regardless. So just on this, based on the volume since the breakout, so I've got that set around here. This is your value area high, value area low, and the most traded level. They're going to be targets for pullback, so 91,000 ish. And 93 and a half, 94 roughly. And then obviously potentially back down into this level here, back into the 85 sort of region. If we get much past that, then chances are we're going to come down and retest a lot lower. I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll get another run up into Christmas. I don't think we'll see the full retrace yet. I actually am thinking that we potentially get a deeper retrace after Christmas around the inauguration, which is typical for markets in general to actually pull back at or around the inauguration. Um, advanced decline line has bounced above the moving averages again, so that's a good sign. BBWP is dropping off, so we're starting to lose some momentum here, or just it's not accelerating anyway. Stochastic still above the signal line for stochastic momentum, but yeah, we're starting to see a drop in BTC longs as well. So definitely some people taking some profits around here. Um, there is still a chance we push higher, and I'll start with the um, volume leaders stuff. So you can see here Coinbase. This is a 2x long Coinbase ETF. These guys took some pretty good profits, didn't they? Don't know where they got in. There hasn't been massive buyers anywhere in the lead up to that, but there's definitely some profit taking going on there. So Coinbase dropping suggests we're getting pretty close to the top. IBIT, there was a lot of trades through that area today. Um, it's completely overridden all the big trades that we had sort of along in these bottoms and stuff like that. So a lot of big volume dark pool activity in that area. I might just change that to today and just see what we get, because that's a huge amount of trading in there just compared to what we've seen over the last week or two. Come on, you loaded really quickly before. There we go. So interesting levels for both of these. They're all at the same level, effectively. Like that's nuts. The other thing was, if we go and just have a look at the today summary, both the coin L or con L and IBIT actually topped. We're in the top five for a few things. So uh, and Marathon Digital. So these just show the top five like largest trades by rank, relative size, blah blah blah. Um, for crypto related stuff to be in the top five is pretty big. So there is a lot of volume um, coming through here. Marathon Digital, same sort of thing. Lots of trading up there. Um, this is a mining company, I believe, but yeah, related to crypto anyway. Um, so I mean, that's a massive drop there. After like these guys were taking profit, you gotta you gotta think these guys were taking profit as well. And it doesn't mean it'll drop immediately after you see this, but chances are, just based on what we're seeing, these are profits. You don't see these guys buying after a massive run up. It's just, that's not what happens. So, yes, 100K is still on the cards, but we are seemingly getting pretty close. As you can see, we have dropped off a bit now, but these are the institutions, and that's what they're doing. So, look, it looks like good time for a bit of a top. Would I short this right now? No. Um, just because we've got that much sort of volume moving around, the market makers are going to have a field day, sweeping liquidity top and bottom. Um, so yeah, Coinbase, just the flat stock. It has had some decent trades at the top here, and we've dropped off. So again, looks like people are starting to think this is the top. Just technology sector had some good buys down here, maybe some profit taking. I'd be surprised if that wasn't, but that was all around the Nvidia earnings as well. Um, so I couldn't be live for Nvidia earnings, but yeah, it was a bit of a nothing burger, really. I mean, they smashed their predictions and stuff like that, but the market obviously wanted a little bit more. But it also just looked like a liquidity sweep in the end, and I think we're up a little bit today. So XLY is sort of chugging sideways, and the reason I'm looking at this is consumer discretionary. It's going to be, if we see another push up and we start to see some big sells at the top, then I'd be a little bit more worried about a bigger pullback in the economy. Not seeing that yet, just keeping it on the radar. How good was this buy? There is no way that's a taking profit. 31st biggest trade on XLI, and then it rips to the upside. Um, yeah, it'd be nice to have some inside running, wouldn't it? Or to have some money to be able to move markets. Um, so yeah, that's industrials having a run like that. Again, doesn't look bad for the economy. Um, just head over to CoinAnk now. Lots of people getting liquidated. You're going to see this like numbers up in the 4,000 and 5,000 every hour. Um, big dollar values as well. Yeah. I actually closed. I had an ETH long and what else? TIA long, which I have closed now, just because I'm not going to be able to really monitor it through the day, be at work. But yeah, look, as you can see here, there is still quite a bit of sell liquidity up here. This is still very much a target. There's not a lot down here. It did come back and sweep a lot of these orders. Basically, just you know, market maker getting rid of some of his stuff and then buying it again on the way up here. You know, taking these guys Bitcoin off their hands. And you can bet he's going to be giving it back to people on the way down. Um, but yeah, this lots of liquidations, lots of orders. Yeah, there's obviously some liquidations to the downside as well. Um, that's of course that's going to be the case, but right now when we're frothy like this, and it's still a I'd still call this a dull market. These moves percentage wise haven't been massive for Bitcoin. Basically, just the time over which it's ground up. You just can't short this. You're going to be looking for basically lower lows, lower highs. So if we come back down and we trade below 96,000 and then we bounce back up and we don't get back into whatever the top ends up being, then, you know, that's more of a downside trade. So that's when you could potentially short it. You're looking for that pullback, one more leg up, doesn't take out the high, and then starts to pull back. Um, at the top, there is a risk that people get excited again and push it to another all-time high. Um, just be wary of the volume of an additional high, and we're kind of at the moment we got some topping signals here. They're not fantastic. Um, this one here is looking a bit better, but we can get multiple of these in a row, and generally the final sort of quick one is typically the last one. But expect to see stuff like this towards the top. God, that annoys me, the thing popping up. But this bit in here is kind of what we could see, and we could chug sideways, just sideways within a $5,000 range for a couple of weeks before actually moving higher. Um, this isn't necessarily done. A pullback from here would be obvious, and that's kind of why I'm a little bit skeptical of it. Um, if it's obvious and everyone's trading it, then chances are it's probably going to go the other way. We haven't seen a massive drop off in open interest yet either. So I think everyone's looking for that 100K mark. And you can see here that these orders sort of go up to 101,000K, 101,000, with not a lot above it. We're starting to see some orders come in at about 110 now. That is interesting. That'll probably be the next level up. But yeah, I'd expect not many people to be interested in selling once we do take this order. I think most of them are going to get rid of their Bitcoin up in here somewhere. But to do that, I think we're going to do a lot of chop. It's just what I'm looking out for. Last 24 hours, some big longs came in on this pump. That was basically the breakout of that previous high. Everyone went long. That would have freaked some people out. But yeah, you can see if you're going long towards the top, your chances are you're not going to be very happy with the result. Um, so I'm not going to be putting any more longs on here unless I see a very clear signal. I mean, we are, still a $2,500 move to get to 10K. That's 100K, but there's not a lot of liquidations compared to some of the long liquidations. Obviously, this is going to be a target, I think, once we do actually break down. 94K, that was a target that we mentioned before. We're back into even 92 in here. There's a lot of orders in there. Okay. but I'm not really expecting that to happen. Like we could, but it would not surprise me if we sort of chopped around in the high 90s, high to mid 90s, maybe down into this 93, 94K mark um, into Christmas with a bit of a Santa rally into Christmas. And then early January, I'd expect the first decent pullback. Um, and that first decent pullback could actually look pretty nasty. So, yeah, not a huge amount of profit taking yet on Bitcoin longs. We kind of want to see something like this to suggest that we're going sideways for a bit. So again, that's suggesting we probably will hit the 100K mark. Um, I'll just go and have a quick look. This was interesting watching Nasdaq yesterday. So in the after hours, or the pre-market, after hours and pre-market, it actually pulled back quite a bit, and then it's obviously ripped to the upside in the session. That's a pretty decent move because that was down 0.6% roughly when I saw it last. Just give it a quick measure. I was down 1%. Um, that's a pretty decent downside move, and we reversed it by positive 0.6%. So effectively a 1.5% swing, roughly 1.9% swing to the top of that. That's a pretty bullish sign right there. Advanced decline lines to the upside, as I said before. We got three big wicks to the bottom. I can't remember what they call that, but that is a candle pattern that would suggest bullishness. Um, Equal weight Qs is going on a tear as well. So yeah, it was a good fake out by the market after the Nvidia earnings. Everyone thought that if Nvidia earnings drove that stock down, that the whole market would crash. But yeah, that it just wasn't showing the signs of that. There were a couple of indicators, we went over them last video, but in general, it was still looking pretty bullish. So I do expect this to be a bit of a run up. Maybe some weakness in early December and then a run up for Christmas. But I think this is the end of that particular pullback for the time being. Be obviously more confident once we sort of close above the previous high close here. And we will be going into probably positive gamma pretty soon, I'd say, on this. So yeah, I'd be on the lookout for run up. The equal weight is going with it as well. IWM is going on a run. So again, that was a pretty good fucking buy level, wasn't it? Anyway, um, XLI is going. XLY, XLP is kind of flat, but if we look at the equal weight XLY, XLP, there is a small uptrend coming in at the moment. So I've got a chair that sounds like I'm farting when I move. The what's that? KRE looking strong. I do expect these to be taken, but it could be whatever the next decent dump is, whether that's after Christmas or like it's either going to be early December or it'll be early January, I think, just based on seasonality and the inauguration dump. Yeah, these are flat. DJI Gold, again, it's suggesting the overall economy is not great, but the market is still sort of trudging higher. VIX has started to settle down again. Skew had a bit of a pump yesterday, so that was again a good sign. We've actually had pretty decent run up. That pullback in skew was not great. I wasn't super excited by that. That was probably one of the things that concerned me going into Nvidia, but in the end, it's uptrending. All the other stuff overrode it. HSI, so I actually just get rid of the other one so you can see it a bit better. Sorry for the shitty screen. Um, yeah, HSI might bounce around here a little bit more before moving. I still like to see it in here somewhere, potentially at least into that 100 EMA there. So 19166, I think would be a good level. It'd fake out. It'd tidy up a lot of long liquidity that's probably sitting in just below that wick there. Um, Decent candles on the Japanese market here. So typically you will see some decent wicks to the downside before a move up. And that looks like we got what we got going on here. Uh, yeah, Japanese market I think is looking for a push up, which after seeing the US market go up, it's probably going to happen. Bonds, this really needs to start moving up. Um, Closures above 91.10 would be bullish on bonds. Um, High yield has been moving up though, so again, kind of support for the economy. This was one of the indicators that suggested we weren't going down. Um, just it had a decent bounce and a decent run up. Um, this bond one, geez, that's a lot of red candles. Hey, opens high, closes low, even on moves up. Wow. LQDIF, that is bleeding to the downside. So this is a potential indicator that there might be something coming soon, but I'd actually expect this to start bouncing at some stage soon. 2-year, 10 years actually looking like it wants to uninvert again because the 2 years pushing up, 10 years pushing up, um, but not as much. That this could just chop sideways for a little bit. I think the bond market is trying to signal that it isn't happy with what plans are for the economy. Um, but yeah, it's the fact that stocks are still moving up, um, and gold's moving up, and Dixie's moving up, and the stock market's moving up. Something is broken. Like those things shouldn't all be happening together. So potentially late November, early December, we could see a reasonable pullback, somewhere around probably 5 to 10. I'd be kind of surprised with 10%, but yeah, somewhere in that region. So, and crypto will come with it, probably in the order of 30%. Copper, again, copper's kind of struggling. It is suggesting overall weakness in the economy. Gold, what a run up. I think I got back into gold the other day. Yeah, anyway. Um, yeah, I think I did. So, good run up on gold. I'd be surprised if we didn't have another pullback here. Um, Especially if the stock market's running, gold might have a rest. I don't think it's going to go all the way, like just straight shot up into here again. I think we'll probably pull back somewhere into this region, maybe a little bit lower, and then move away. Um, Silver, silver's struggling in comparison, so this is shit the bed. Silver's still not favoured over gold yet. I think that's potentially just because the economy. People are moving to gold more than they are silver. I still think silver's going to be a pretty good play. It's still massively up from where I bought in anyway. So I'm just going to hold my silver for the time being. US oil slowly moving up. Um, yeah, again, oil's not showing any super strength in the economy, um, but I think we need it to break to the upside. Ugh. If we break to the downside, it's down into the 50s. Um, yeah, Dixie's pushing new highs on the closure of the daily. I'd still expect some resistance around here. It's a it's a big traded area, so I'd say we're going to chop sideways a little bit on Dixie, which will allow the others to catch up a bit. Yeah, I don't expect the Japanese central bank to allow their currency to sit down here for too long. Well, Aussie dollar versus euro got a pump because the euro is struggling against US dollar. Hmm. Could be due to like European economy is a bit weaker than the US economy at the moment. Brazilian, yeah, UK is struggling. UK dollar will probably come down to the 125 pounds per US dollar, potentially further, but this is a pretty extended run to the downside already. Um, Global liquidity still looks like it wants to move down, which again, typically the stock market doesn't go up when this is going down, not normally anyway. So that's a little bit concerning for the next couple of weeks, but uh, percentage of stocks above 50-day moving average. Blue is taking a jump. Um, Nothing hugely conclusive here yet, but it's bouncing off basically the same level as it did back here. So it's looking more bullish than not. Mag 7 struggling a bit. The money definitely seems to be flowing into the lower market caps. Tesla's flat. Geez, you're hard pressed short in Tesla if you're doing that at that point. Nvidia actually pretty decent moves today, um, but yeah, it's a lot of after hours action in both directions. Tidied up this vector candle completely. Didn't really close the gap as such, but um, yeah, it's like the market's looking nervous. It seems to be climbing that wall of worry. But whenever Nvidia's above this trend line, I'd suggest the market's generally going to eke up and to the right. Google's struggling, I think, on the back of all these rumors about it's going to have to sell off Chrome and all this kind of stuff. Um, yeah, we did say that there's probably going to be a fair bit of resistance at that level. So Google's not looking great. RK's right in the middle of the channel. Apple still just again climbing that wall of worry, but we've got a pretty big distribution or accumulation going on in Apple at the moment, and I actually suspect this might be a distribution, but um, Apple could easily pull back up into these highs and break to a new all-time high. Uh, but I actually don't think there's going to be a hell of a lot more all-time highs on a lot of these big stocks before the next major crash. So I think if you're into trading stocks, the smaller stocks are probably going to be the bigger movers in either direction. Meta still holding this trend line. Again, doesn't look super healthy, but I think there's just a bit of hangover after the Nvidia event. AMD needs to find some support here. Could be setting up for a head and shoulders to the downside, which would bring it probably back into around the 105. But before that, you got to complete that head and shoulders. So you really need to come back up in here somewhere and then break to the downside. But yeah, I would expect a little bit more upside on AMD first. Airbnb back into this range. Again, Airbnb not looking super strong. Suggests that the market is worried about the economy, and particularly the consumer. SMCI is still having a bit of a run. I don't know if they've actually bought out uh, an announcement yet. Anyway, ASML still struggling at the lows here. Stellantis has just, oh man, that's a massive fake out. That's a liquidity grab there. Look, I'd be surprised if it didn't break to the downside here, but it might pull back up and have one last try on the move down. Yeah, Ford's not looking great either. So no big movements on the ones that are kind of, I guess, related to the overall consumer and the economy. Um, yeah, not looking super great. Aussie market had a good day and is having a good day still. Could just be a recovery of this vector candle though too. I mean, it's looking bullish. You wouldn't short that. It's a dull market, but total crypto market cap, decent breakout there. So yeah, good breakout for that. As I said before, this is the chart you want to look out for, not the USDT versus Bitcoin market cap. And we are definitely breaking to the downside here. Might get some support here though. So again, we're getting close to a top on Bitcoin. We're getting close to this bottom, which is probably going to be a bit of a support level. So yeah, if you start to see a bump in this chart, then it's probably going to be a bit of a top for Bitcoin. Just another thing to keep on the lookout for. This is something I pointed out. I don't know if I pointed this out on a live. I pointed it out to the guys in Origin. ETH has been getting a massive bid against Bitcoin ever since August. Basically, people have just been building longs of ETH versus Bitcoin. And if you look at the ETH chart, let's go to a different chart. Just show Ethereum. So throughout this whole time in here, where was it, from August? Yeah, so from this bottom here on ETH's been getting a massive bid against Bitcoin. You can see there it's just started skyrocketing. That is getting close to, levels back in 2020. So I do think ETH is probably going to go on a pretty decent run once Bitcoin does reach its top. It's already started the next run up, as we can see. Last night, was it? Yeah, last night. My time. See, I put in somewhere in here. And yeah, I've sold that at the moment. It's probably going to run higher, to be honest. I probably shouldn't have sold it, but we'll see. I was happy with the profit. Come back in here quickly. So BTC USD longs, we'll look at that. So Ethereum on the daily, looking pretty good. I would expect this to break out here. At least test the value area high. So 35, 70-ish, which is, funnily enough, a previous resistance on a breakdown. Um, so, yeah, expect ETH to go 35.66. Probably struggle around there because I think if we actually extend this out as well, so there is that upper trend line there that's coming into the same sort of level here. So somewhere around that 3,600, I think Ethereum's probably going to struggle a little bit. But we've got such a big breakout, no, such a big um, order wave of longs versus BTC. There is a chance that it does push through that, and we actually finally get ETH breaking out of this channel. There is vector candle up here at 3,800. That's actually probably the target for the next move up. Yeah, 3,800 before a pullback, I reckon. It's pretty decent volume area there as well. It might be a slow grind to get through this area just because of the volume and the channel and stuff. But yeah, I'd be surprised if ETH didn't do something like this. Okay, so 3,800 for the pullback, and then move away from it. Um, let's be real, that's probably going to look more like this. Okay. So yeah, that's where things are at. Fucking Nero. I think I closed out of a trade in Nero. It was just looking fucking dead. Now it's on a 15, 16% move. Anyway, Nero's probably going to run. Yeah, yeah, it's probably going to run hard. If we do get a big wave up on some of these alts, like Sol's done well. Sol's broken the all-time high. I thought I fixed that. That wasn't the all-time high. Yeah, close. Um, close enough anyway. I think it did test that all-time high. But yeah, I'd expect Sol to probably keep running as well. The only thing that concerns me about Sol is it's kind of moving before and moving very similarly to Bitcoin. So it might actually turn around the same time Bitcoin turns around. Whereas a lot of these other ones are probably going to run after Bitcoin pulls back. Do that typical move into alts. WIF's probably not a bad buy at this level as well. Don't go 50x leverage. Carve, yeah. This wick up here suggests Carve's going up there when it does move. Moodeng, this is probably one of my favorite just memes for this run. I think that will probably bottom here. So yeah, a lot of the memes and the alts didn't really run hard on this last push up on Bitcoin, which suggests that all the money was sort of flowing into Bitcoin and just waiting for that top, and then we'll start to see it flow into the others. Doge, I don't know that it's going to go much higher than this. Litecoin, it had a pretty decent run recently. Might get back up into another breakout, but even SHIB, like, yeah, that's an old support line. That's a really old support line. I would have put that on somewhere back in here. Um, so it's interesting that it came back to that. SHIB probably, again, that's an old resistance line too. Um, yeah, SHIB will probably come back up and retest that level at least. I'd be surprised if it breaks out. Like some of these coins had massive market caps with no real utility back in that previous run. So for these to break out into massive all-time highs, I just don't know that it's going to be there. But some of the ones with utility, I think, are underpriced at the moment. So I'm going to try tonight, maybe on the flight or something, to actually do some research, get that to you. All right, that'll do. I think for actually, I was going to do shorter time frame. So yeah, it looks like we're topping out a little bit here. Um, yeah, ETH does look like it's topping. Bitcoin, that's pretty nasty. Sort of lower high there on the 15-minute. Um, yeah, if we get to the 100K mark, it could just be like one last push up into that. Just break this and fail back below it. But it looks like at the moment we'll probably get another pullback somewhere into at least the 100 EMA, maybe a little bit lower. But these are sort of the turnarounds that you're kind of looking for. Decent volume, wick to the downside, and then an engulfing candle to the upside. They're pretty good signs that you've hit a turnaround point. I mean, it's hard though, because sometimes it'll bounce off the 50, sometimes it'll bounce off the 100. You just kind of got to be buying when you think it's cheap for that last leg up. But try and look for a turnaround sign. But yeah, on the 15-minute, definitely looks like we're going to have a bit of a rest here. Just looking at these indicators. BBWP, which is this rainbow line here, that's coming down. This TDI indicator is coming down as well. If it crosses below this midline here, it's probably going to suggest we go further down. But yeah, DMIs also looks like it wants to try and cross to bearishness as well, but that could easily come very close and then move away. So I don't really pay too much attention to this. It can give me an idea of when things are going to reverse, but like a red signal on that combined with a turn down of TDI, combined with a turn down on the trend, the MACD trend, that's a pretty good sign you're coming down. That was why I sold out of the longs that I was in. All right, I think that'll do, to be honest. One thing I was going to mention, if there's anyone left around, actually I was going to watch the Discord chat. No questions. That's good. There is this indicator here, which is a very interesting indicator. So it's the Bitcoin rainbow wave, but it's a kind of different to the previous ones that I've seen. It just gives you an idea of when the market might be getting frothy, and it's been pretty good back through history, and good areas to buy and stuff like that. So just maybe one to keep on your charts just to see where you were at in general. Even predicted the sort of the bottom here, or that zone for bottoming out, just as like this was a zone for the pump up. Same here. That's the zone for the next leg up. It's like, I'm surprised how good this has been historically. Does it break this time? Maybe. It does suggest we're probably going to top somewhere between February and May. That wouldn't surprise me. But that is a fucking long way away. And 175K to 200 and something K. I actually had a prediction of 200, I think it was around 220K back in the bear market somewhere. and it was just based on fib extensions and what we've hit previously. Um, that is a possibility, but for the time being, you know, if you look at previous cycles, first leg up, you actually hit that orange band and then pull back into the middle band. That is, I don't know that that's going to happen. I mean, it could. It just seems like it's a long way away. Like that'd be 140K ish, 150K say, and then a pullback, potentially back into 120K, and then a run up into the 200s. I mean, that is entirely possible. I'm not going to rule that out. It just seems like this may be broken, but certainly what I would, or what I am considering, is that we probably, like, that's not bad timing for the top in Bitcoin, somewhere around February to May next year. And then potentially a secondary bounce towards the middle to late that year, and then bottoming potentially back into, so it doesn't even go that far, but somewhere in 2027, 28. All right. So that's just an interesting one to have on your charts. I might put a link to that one too. I haven't modified this at all. Um, I'll put it in the Discord for you. But yeah, let's check it out. All right. That'll do. Catch you later.